My name is Maya Sterling, and when my family told me I'd never amount to anything, I turned their rejection into ownership of the very home they tried to erase me from. They called me a burden, unworthy of our Savannah, Georgia legacy. But 2 years later, I stood on their porch, not as their outcast, but as the new owner, holding the deed to the house they cherished. It started in the grand dining room of our family's historic home in Savannah's Forsyth Park district, a 3-story Victorian with oak floors and a wraparound porch. I was 28, the youngest of 3 siblings, raised by my parents, Richard and Evelyn Sterling, who prized their social status above all. My older brother, Caleb, was a lawyer. My sister, Abigail, a realtor married to a banker. I was the problem child, a freelance photographer who dropped out of college to chase art. At a family dinner, I shared my dream of opening a photography studio. My dad scoffed. "Maya, you're a burden. Stop wasting our time." My mom nodded. "You'll never amount to anything with your pictures." Caleb and Abigail smirked, and my cousin Lauren, who was visiting, laughed outright. "Stick to hobbies, Maya. This family's about success." Their words burned. I'd spent years capturing Savannah's charm. Cobblestone streets, live oaks, and riverfront sunsets, selling prints online for $200 a month. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I lived in a cramped apartment in the historic district, scraping by on freelance gigs. After that dinner, I called my best friend, Zoe, a barista with a sharp mind. "They think I'm nothing," I said, tears falling. Zoe was fierce. "You're not nothing, Maya. You're a creator. Build something they can't ignore." My family's rejection wasn't new. They'd always favored Caleb and Abigail, but Zoe's words sparked a fire. I wasn't just fighting for me. I was fighting for my place. I started small, turning my photography into a business. I rented a tiny studio in Savannah's Starland district, a bohemian hub, for $800 a month. I invested $1,000 from my savings into lighting, a backdrop, and a website, mayasnaps.com, showcasing portraits and cityscapes. Zoe helped me design flyers, and I posted them at coffee shops and art galleries. My first client, a local boutique, paid $300 for product photos, praising my unique eye. I reinvested every dollar, buying a better camera and learning SEO to boost my site. By month 3, I had 5 clients, 2 boutiques, a cafe, and a couple for engagement photos, bringing in $1,500 a month. My family didn't care. At a Thanksgiving gathering at the Victorian, my dad cornered me. "Heard you're taking pictures in a shed," he said, sipping bourbon. "You're embarrassing us." Abigail chimed in. "Our friends are asking why you're not in a real job." I stood tall. "It's not a shed. It's a studio, and it's growing." They laughed, but I kept going. I took night classes in business management at Savannah State University, learning budgeting and marketing. I landed a contract with a local hotel, shooting their website for $2,000, pushing my revenue to $3,500 a month. My Instagram, Maya Snaps, hit 2,000 followers, with posts of my moody Savannah portraits going viral locally. My first big break came at a Savannah Arts Festival, where I exhibited my work. I'd spent weeks curating a booth, displaying prints of Forsyth Park and Tybee Island. A gallery owner, Clara Holt, bought 3 pieces for $500 each and offered to host a solo show. "Your work captures Savannah's soul," she said. The show sold 10 prints for $4,000, and Clara connected me with a wedding planner, Elise, who hired me for $1,500 per event. I was now earning $5,000 a month, saving for a bigger studio. Zoe helped me update my website, adding a booking system, and my waitlist for photo shoots grew to 15 clients. But the real shift came when I overheard a rumor at a coffee shop. Zoe's co-worker, a friend of Abigail's, mentioned my family was struggling financially. The Victorian, their pride and joy, was a money pit, $10,000 a year in upkeep, with Caleb and Abigail footing the bills. My parents were considering selling it to cover debts. I didn't gloat. I planned. If I could grow Maya Snaps, I could afford to buy the house they'd cast me out of. I applied for a $20,000 small business grant through a Savannah entrepreneurship program, pitching my studio as a cultural asset. I won. using the funds to lease a larger space in the historic district, with room for a gallery and portrait studio. The new space was a game changer. I hired a part-time assistant, Noah, to manage bookings, freeing me to shoot weddings and corporate events. My revenue hit $7,000 a month, and my Instagram reached 5,000 followers, with Clara's Gallery tagging me in posts. A local magazine, Savannah Scene, featured me as the artist redefining Southern charm, driving more clients. I saved every penny, eyeing the Victorians' rumored $500,000 price tag. But my family kept doubting. At a cousin's wedding, Abigail pulled me aside. "Your little photos are cute, Maya, but you're not us. Stay out of the family's business." My mom nodded. "Don't embarrass us with your dreams." I smiled, my plan forming. "I'm not embarrassing you. I'm outshining you." Then came a breakthrough. Elise, the wedding planner, introduced me to a real estate investor, Marcus Tate, who needed photos for luxury listings. I pitched a package, $3,000 per property, with drone shots and virtual tours. He signed me for 5 listings, paying $15,000 upfront. My revenue soared to $10,000 a month, and I applied for a $100,000 loan, using my studio's growth as collateral. Marcus hinted the Victorian was hitting the market soon. My parents couldn't afford the taxes. I saw my chance, not just to succeed, but to own the home they'd used to define me as a failure. As I prepared a bid for the house, Lauren called, her tone smug. "Heard you're doing okay with your pictures. Don't think it makes you a sterling." I kept it short. "I'm not trying to be a sterling. I'm being Maya." My focus was on the auction, where I'd show up not as their outcast, but as the buyer. They'd called me a burden, but I was about to hold the deed to their past. Hey, Revenge Tempest fans. Can you feel Maya's hustle? She's turning rejection into ownership. Want to see her claim her family's home? Smash that subscribe button and join our squad. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. A year after my family called me a burden and told me I'd never amount to anything, my photography business, Maya Snaps, was thriving in Savannah, Georgia. From a tiny Starland District studio with $200 a month in sales, I'd grown to a historic district space, earning $10,000 a month with a waitlist of 15 clients. With a $20,000 grant and a $100,000 loan, I turned their rejection into a brand, shooting weddings and luxury listings. My parents, Richard and Evelyn, my siblings, Caleb and Abigail, and my cousin Lauren mocked my dreams, but whispers of their financial struggles and plans to sell our family's Victorian home gave me a goal. Buy the house they'd cast me out of. Maya Snaps was a local sensation. Our Instagram, designed by my friend Zoe, hit 8,000 followers, with moody shots of Savannah's squares and client testimonials driving bookings. A feature in Southern Living called my work a love letter to the South, boosting my waitlist to 25 clients. I raised fees to $2,000 per wedding and $3,500 per real estate shoot, signing 3 more properties with Marcus Tate, the investor, for $10,500. My revenue hit $12,000 a month, and I hired a second assistant, Lila, to handle editing, letting me focus on growth. I upgraded my studio with a drone for aerial shots, pushing my real estate packages to $4,000 each. My big break came at a Savannah Chamber of Commerce mixer, where I networked with local business owners. I met Priya Anand, a former gallery owner turned consultant who'd scaled art brands. Over coffee at the Sentient Bean, I shared my vision. A Maya Snaps chain of studios across Georgia, blending photography with cultural events. "You're not just a photographer," Priya said. "You're a storyteller. Build a franchise." She offered to consult for $3,000, and I paid her with my grant funds, learning how to standardize branding and train staff. Priya helped me draft a plan. 3 studios in 3 years, starting with a second location in Tybee Island. The Tybee studio was a risk, $2,000 a month in rent, but I crunched the numbers. 10 weddings and 5 real estate shoots at $15,000 a month would cover it. Marcus invested $30,000 for 5% equity, and I used my loan to equip the space with lighting and a gallery wall. Maya Snaps Tybee opened with 8 clients, including a beach resort, and brought in $8,000 a month. Our total revenue across 2 studios hit $20,000, and our Instagram reached 12,000 followers, with Zoe posting drone shots of Tybie's lighthouse. A local TV segment on WTOC called Maya Snaps Savannah's artistic heartbeat, and my waitlist grew to 40 clients. But my family's doubts didn't stop. Zoe overheard at a coffee shop that Caleb and Abigail were struggling to maintain the Victorian, with $15,000 in back taxes piling up. My parents were pushing to sell, and Abigail, the realtor, was quietly listing it for $550,000. I didn't confront them, I strategized. If I could land a big client, I'd have the cash to bid on the house. I pitched Maya Snaps to a Savannah hotel chain, offering $20,000 for a year-long campaign of photos and virtual tours. They signed, praising my vision, and my revenue jumped to $25,000 a month. I saved every dollar, eyeing the auction. The family's gossip grew louder. Zoe's coworker, a friend of Lauren's, said Abigail was telling clients I was playing artist and would fail soon. Caleb told his law firm buddies I was wasting time with snapshots. Even my parents piled on during a call. "Maya, we heard you're renting another studio," my mom said. "Don't ruin yourself chasing dreams." My dad added, "Abigail says the house is worth more than you'll ever make." I gripped my phone. I'm not chasing dreams. I'm catching them. My cousin Lauren texted smug, "Nice photos, Maya, but you're not a Sterling." I didn't reply. My focus was on the house. My next move came through Clara Holt, the gallery owner. She introduced me to a venture capital firm, Coastal Ventures, looking to back creative startups. I spent weeks building a pitch: 2 studios, 50 clients, $300,000 in annual revenue, and a franchise plan for 5 locations. Priya drilled me on financials, ensuring my numbers were airtight. "You're not just selling photos," she said. "You're selling Savannah's soul. Own it." The VC pitch was set for a week before the Victorian's auction, and I prepared to bid $600,000, using my revenue and a new $200,000 loan backed by Marcus. Then came a curveball. Zoe overheard Abigail at a Forsyth Park event, venting to Lauren. "Maya thinks she's a big shot with her pictures," she said. "She'll never touch our house." Lauren laughed, agreeing. My blood boiled. But I stayed calm. I added a portfolio to my pitch, showcasing $50,000 in sales from my solo show and hotel contracts, proving my worth. Abigail texted me, her tone fake. "Your studio's doing well, Maya. Need a realtor for your brand? I'm free." I didn't respond. She'd mocked me, and now she wanted in? My focus was on Coastal Ventures and the auction, where I'd walk onto that porch as the owner. As the auction neared, Zoe warned me about Abigail's plan. "She's pushing to sell the house to a developer," she said. "They're offering $650,000. I wasn't fazed. I'd saved $200,000 and had the loan ready. If Coastal Ventures invested, I'd outbid everyone. My family had cast me out, but I was about to own the home they thought I'd never deserve. 18 months after my family called me a burden and said I'd never amount to anything, I stood on the porch of our family's Victorian home in Savannah, Georgia, holding the deed. My photography business, Maya Snaps, had grown from a tiny Starland District studio to 2 locations, 50 clients, and $25,000 a month in revenue. With a $20,000 grant, a $200,000 loan, and $30,000 from investor Marcus Tate, I'd turned their rejection into a brand. My parents, Richard and Evelyn, my siblings, Caleb and Abigail, and my cousin Lauren mocked my dreams, but now with their beloved home up for auction due to their debts, I was about to claim it as my own. The Coastal Ventures pitch was my turning point. I presented in their Savannah office, my slides showcasing Maya Snap's success: 2 studios, $300,000 in annual revenue, and a franchise plan for 5 locations. "Maya Snaps isn't just photography," I said. "It's Savannah's story, with a waitlist of 40 clients proving demand." The VCs, led by Sophia Grant, grilled me on scalability. I answered with Priya Anand's franchise model, standardized branding, trained staff, and a 3rd studio plan for Hilton Head. They offered $250,000 for 10% equity, and I shook Sophia's hand, my heart pounding. That money would fund my bid for the Victorian, listed at $550,000, but climbing with developer offers. The auction was a week later, held at Savannah's City Hall. My family didn't know I was bidding. They thought Abigail's developer contact would win at $650,000. I'd saved $200,000 and secured a $400,000 mortgage, backed by Maya Snap's revenue. Dressed in a sharp blazer, I walked in with Marcus and Zoe, my friend, by my side. Abigail's jaw dropped when she saw me. Caleb whispered to my parents, their faces pale. I bid calmly, countering the developer's $650,000 with $675,000. The room hushed. My parents stared, stunned, as the auctioneer called. Sold to Maya Sterling. I signed the deed, my hands steady, owning the home they'd cast me out of. The news spread like wildfire. Maya Snap's Instagram, now at 15,000 followers, exploded with posts about my Savannah comeback, tagging the Victorians' iconic porch. Savannah magazine ran a feature, calling me the artist who bought her legacy, and my waitlist hit 60 clients. I opened the Hilton Head studio, signing 10 new clients for $10,000 a month, pushing total revenue to $35,000. I hired 2 more assistants, Ethan and Lila, to manage shoots, and Clara Holt's gallery hosted a second show, selling $20,000 in prints. A local TV segment on WSAV dubbed Maya Snaps, Georgia's creative powerhouse, and Coastal Ventures offered another $100,000 to scale. My family's reaction came at a tense meeting in the Victorians' dining room, now mine. My mom's eyes were wet. Maya, we're so proud. We were wrong to doubt you. My dad nodded. We thought you'd fail. You've outdone us all. Abigail, her realtor career faltering, begged. Your business is huge, Maya. Need a manager? I'm struggling. I crossed my arms. You called my work a hobby, Abigail. I'm good. Caleb, facing law firm layoffs, tried next. Impressive, Maya. Need legal help. I smiled coolly. You said I was a burden, Caleb. I've got this. Lauren, my cousin, texted an apology. I misjudged you. Can we talk? I replied. Busy running a franchise. Book a shoot. The victory lap was Maya Snap's grand opening for a 3rd studio in Augusta, packed with clients, media, and local artists. I took the stage, my voice clear. 2 years ago, my family said I'd never amount to anything, I said. Today, I own their past and Savannah's future. The crowd cheered, and I caught Abigail's eye, her face tight with regret. I moved into the Victorian, keeping its oak floors but adding a Maya Snaps gallery in the parlor, open to the public. My parents visited, awestruck, but I kept it professional. Tours are $10, I said, half joking. They paid. A year later, I stood in the Victorian's garden, overseeing 3 studios, 100 clients, and $500,000 in annual revenue. Maya Snaps was valued at $2 million, with plans for a 4th studio in Charleston. I paid off my loans and donated to a Savannah arts program for kids. Abigail took a job at a small agency, her listings sparse. Caleb moved to Atlanta, his career shaky. My parents called often, eager to reconnect, but I kept it short. Busy building, I'd say. Zoe, my rock, joined as my marketing lead, her barista days behind her. Marcus and Priya toasted my success at a riverfront dinner. You didn't just buy a house, Priya said. You bought respect. Success wasn't about making my family regret, though standing on their porch as the owner felt good. It was about proving Zoe, Clara, and Marcus right. The people who saw my vision when I was invisible. When they cast me out, I didn't beg. I built. And when I held the deed, I wasn't just winning. I was rewriting the legacy they thought they'd stolen. Hey, Revenge Tempest fans. Did Maya's triumph give you chills? We're all about fierce women and epic comebacks here, so smash that subscribe button to join our squad. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from, Savannah, Singapore, or out in the stars. Let's keep the revenge stories coming. Hey, Revenge Tempest fans. Did Maya's triumph give you chills? We're all about fierce women and epic comebacks here, so smash that subscribe button to join our squad. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from, Savannah, Singapore, or out in the stars. Let's keep the revenge stories coming.